Welcome to True Health Tuesdays. Today, hair loss. Okay, now what we're going to do is, a lot of people think it's like male pattern baldness or hereditary. We're going to go over like the crazy ideas that people have for it, and you're going to find out the solutions are pretty simple. According to the Mayo Clinic, hair loss can it can affect just your scalp or entire body. It can be the result of heredity, hormonal changes, medical conditions, or medications. And interesting, men, women, children, everybody can be affected. Now, all the medical doctors, they're looking at this as heredity, okay, and they're not looking at any other factors. Baldness typically refers to excessive hair loss from the scalp, hereditary hair loss with age, most common cause of baldness. Now, the different types of hair loss, talking gradual thinning, circular bald patches, loosening of the hair, full body hair loss, patches, scaling, spreading over the scalp. I mean, we've had multiple teenagers, and we're talking male and female. Okay, and I've never seen this in 20 years of practice. Big old huge patches of hair just falling out. And thinking that's odd. Why is it now all of a sudden happening? There's got to be some type of toxicity or deficiency possibly. But when we look at it, the average person sheds 50 to 100 hairs a day. So don't freak out if you're brushing and you got some hairs in the hairbrush. You know, that's like common. Now, the hair loss occurs when the cycle of hair growth and shedding is disrupted, or when the follicle is destroyed or replaced with scar tissue. And it's interesting, when you look at this, a lot of the bald patches that you see, the follicles are still there, they're just dormant. Okay, now, and again, Mayo Clinic family history, hormonal changes, medical conditions, and medications. And this is what's interesting in a lot of people with alopecia, which means hair loss. When a person has a medical condition like alopecia areata, the hair falls out in round patches and on the scalp and around the whole body. And there's different types. Of course, this is the medical world. Alopecia areata, patches, totalis, the entire scalp, and universalis all over the body. And now this is what's interesting. When you start looking at the research, Academy of Dermatology, it's an autoimmune disease. So now this makes sense why I'm seeing it in teenagers. Autoimmune means that the body's immune system attacks when alopecia areata develops. The body attacks its own hair follicles, and a person's genetic makeup combined with other factors can trigger this form of hair loss. And it's interesting, people with this type are also going to have thyroid diseases, vitiligo, asthma, allergies, dermatitis. So let's look at all of these different conditions, because we've done talks on vitiligo, thyroid disease. We've done, I think, 7 or 8 talks on thyroid. So does that mean that most hair loss, okay, is also an autoimmune disease, where it's like toxicity and deficiency equals the actual expression of disease? Well, it's true. Now, again, when there's an autoimmune disease, and since no medications really strengthen the immune system, it's best to just blindly drug it. No, honest to God. American Academy, and we're going to blow this out of the water, because it's like, yeah, we know it's an autoimmune disease, but we're just going to suppress the immune system. And when you see these, and we're going to go through each one of these drugs, what's wild is you're going to see all the effects of it, and the effects, it may grow hair. It might. Okay, but as soon as you stop growing the hair, you get nothing but the effects. So let's start off with steroids. Okay, when we look at it, skin thinning, stretch marks, easy bruising, rosacea, so steroid acne, dermatitis, pustular psoriasis. You might get hair thickness and length, but of course, as soon as you stop the steroids, it has to stop. Now, one of the applications of corticosteroids are, the idea is that the autoimmune or immune system actually attacks the hair follicle itself. So they actually have to take a needle and stick it in the bald patches. We've got some more chairs up here, but I do pick on people on this side, so don't worry. Okay, so they actually stick needles in the bald patches, and they say that sometimes the pain can be so great that they have to stop the therapy. Okay, let's not stop there. Okay, fluid retention, sodium retention, congestive heart failure, potassium, hypokalemia, hypertension, musculoskeletal issues, and there's all with just corticosteroids. Okay, because remember, we don't know what the cause of it, we're just going to drug it. Muscle weakness, osteoporosis, tendon rupture, compression fractures, pathologic fractures, peptic ulcers, ulcerative esophagitis, dermatologic, impaired wound healing, facial erythema, may suppress immune system, neurologic, intracranial pressure, convulsions, headaches, vitiligo, but by gosh, it might grow hair. And of course, it only helps if you continue to take it. As soon as you stop it, all the benefits have been stopped as well. Now, this is the short list, and I'm not kidding. Okay, now of course, you know, if anyone that's over 50 may have heard of Rogaine. Okay, what do you think? You think heart disease, heart damage, and everything else. Yeah, so don't worry about it. They changed the name to minoxidil. So this way you're not familiar with the heart damage. Now, I gotta apologize for the small print, but yeah, this is the one that was implicated in sexual dysfunction, because that's one of the reasons you want to grow the hair, to attract the girl, but you can't really like do anything if you're taking this stuff. So increased hair loss is one of the effects. And I mean, it's just like mind-boggling. Chest pain, dizziness, heart problems, sometimes it's permanent heart damage. Cardiovascular, pericardial effusion, pericarditis. You're seeing a lot of heart stuff, tachycardia, and they don't really know how it works. Okay, they know that if you use it, of course, pregnant women can't touch it, kids can't touch it. So if you're using it, it's on your hair, and your sweetheart goes to touch it, you say, "No, baby, don't touch my hair." Okay, swelling, topical therapy, dermatologic, hypertrichosis. Okay, this is Wolfman syndrome. And it's interesting too, because I actually got injured once where I had a scar that went down my forehead. And just because I got tired of telling people how it happened, I said, yeah, I cut myself shaving. I never really had hypertrichosis. Okay, I just thought it was just stop people from talking to me. Okay, dermatitis exacerbation, and look at this. Exacerbation of hair loss and alopecia has been reported. You know, and again, it just doesn't make any sense to do this. You know, nervous system disorders, gastrointestinal vomiting, I mean, and then, okay, you've got the tablet form. We're talking nausea, chest pain, rapid weight gain, fast pounding heartbeats, numbness, sore feet. I mean, you know, it's insane. So what really causes it? Because, I mean, obviously, if you don't know what causes it, you know that majority of it is an autoimmune condition. Just to drug that doesn't make any sense. So, and again, dermatologic clinics. A careful history and examination of the shed hairs will reveal the etiology of most alopecias are due to a systemic process. Isn't that interesting? So it's not a hair issue, it's the entire system that's malfunctioning. Okay, and that's where the autoimmune aspects come in. Telogen, and this is a phase of hair growth, and we're going to go over that in a minute, is preceded by severe systemic stress. Telogen effluent is when the stage of growth of the hair, they just start breaking off. Occurs at least 2 months prior to the normal loss of club hairs. Most other causes of hair loss involve damage to the hair follicle, leading to shedding, drug ingestion, nutritional compromise, or concurrent systems suggest genetic, endocrinologic, collagen, vascular, or infectious etiology. It's interesting because when you start looking at this, it really is a systemic problem. Anything that interrupts the normal hair cycle can trigger hair loss. Physiologic, emotional, stress, nutritional deficiencies, and endocrine imbalances. Finding the cause or trigger of hair loss requires a thorough history and examination. I mean, that makes so much more sense instead of just drugging it. Now, and this is brilliant. Numerous circumstantial evidence support the notion that alopecia areata is fundamentally a disease of inflammatory cells and may be autoimmune in nature. And, complex environmental interplay. Now, remember when we were talking about vaccines, how vaccines cause inflammation? It's interesting that the Journal of Autoimmunity, and we're just looking at hepatitis B. We're not looking at all the 69 doses of 16 different vaccines that the children today are exposed to. But remember that all vaccines, you've got two basic immune system responses. Th1, which triggers humoral and cellular response. That is how you're supposed to be exposed to a virus, fungus, bacteria, or pathogen. And this triggers, you need a healthy, robust gut flora, but you're going to have a memory of this, and you can pass this on for generations. Now, the acute inflammatory response is what is caused by vaccination. And they're talking about inflammation or inflammatory responses, systemic inflammatory responses being part of the alopecia or hair loss. Journal of Autoimmunity, a large series of serious autoimmune conditions have been reported. And this is, we've known this for 30 years. Now, when you look at the effects of a vaccine. And we're just looking at the hepatitis B one because this is the first one kids get. They get it at 12 hours old. Multiple sclerosis, optic neuritis, vasculitis, arthritis, and alopecia. Interesting. What's that? Kids are already bald, so they're not going to really notice it? No, I'm talking about when they grow up. I thought that was a funny joke. So let's look at the different phases of hair growth, okay? So this way you know how it grows. And it goes through 3 phases of growth. Anagen phase. Now this takes 2 to 7 years. This is the slow growth period, and it mainly happens in the follicle and it starts to protrude a little bit. Catagen phase, this lasts about 2 weeks. This phase, the hair shaft moves upward towards the skin surface, dermal papillae. The structure that nourishes the cells that gives rise to the hair begin to separate from the follicle. And then the telogen phase, or the resting phase, lasts about 3 months, and then it ends with the shedding of the hair shaft. So think of this, you've got this follicle down here that takes 2 to 7 years to grow that hair. And then once the hair is out, then it migrates up towards the surface of the skin, and then part of its life cycle, okay, is that it breaks off and sheds. So it's a continual production. It's not like the hair follicles die or anything. And if you can look at the cross section of this, it's more complex and beautiful than you could imagine, because these follicles, they're really complex structures, but they go through a life cycle and then they start again. So when we're looking at this, I mean, Harvard Medical School, main type of hair loss in both sexes is androgenic alopecia. And we're talking male, female, pattern hair loss. And again, Harvard, they're talking multiple medical conditions, medications, physiologic, and emotional stressors. Because what do we continually talk about? Physical, chemical, or emotional stressors. And that's pretty much the source of most diseases. And androgenic alopecia involves the action of hormones called androgen, which are essentially normal male sexual development and have other important functions in both sexes, including sex drive and regulation of hair growth. So it can result from an underlying endocrine condition. Isn't that interesting that some of the medications they use, okay, the minoxidil, because I don't want to say Rogaine, that has a bad connotation. Same thing, you know, that negatively affects sexual function. So we start looking at this. Do we have any endocrine disruptors that we're exposed to in our society? Like plastics, okay, like the lining of cans, Okay, so we're starting to look that the male pattern, there's actually a really brilliant Canadian documentary. It's called The Disappearing Male, where they're finding out sperm counts are getting lower and lower and lower. It's amazing what we're exposed to. So what's the cause of hair loss? I mean, at least according to Harvard, physical, chemical, or emotional stress load. We're talking several categories. This is common form of hair loss happens 2 to 3 months after a major body stress, so prolonged illness, major surgery, serious infection, sudden hormonal changes. Okay, so all of these can cause it. Now, what type of medications can cause hair loss? It's mind-boggling because we're looking at lithium, beta blockers, which are blood pressure drugs. They're also used to help with arrhythmias, blood thinners, more blood thinners, heparin, warfarin, amphetamines. Okay, so that's going to be the drugs to help kids study. Okay, amphetamines. You know, this is the attention deficit disorder drugs. And honest to God, I actually had a 16-year-old come in, and I say, well, are you taking any medication? She says, yeah, prescription meth. And I said, God, you arrogant, caustic little kid, I love you. You know, you're going to probably grow up to be a chiropractor. So it was really cool. Okay, Cinnamon, of course, chemotherapy, everybody knows. I mean, when you see a little bald kid on the sign, you know, for these things to generate funds for cancer industry, cancer is not a hair disease, okay? But the toxic chemicals that we expose this that totally disrupt their hormones and physiology does cause it. Okay, I mean, don't stop at that list of drugs yet. We're looking at gout medications, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, cholesterol lowering drugs, birth control drugs. No. If all the hair falls out, that is not a birth control. Okay, I'm talking the other drugs. Okay, testosterone, steroids, antidepressant, mood stabilizers, anticonvulsants, antifungals, acne medications, steroids, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. That's right, Advil, Motrin, Aleve, ibuprofen, thyroid medications, immune suppressants. It's like, damn it, what's not on this list? You know, and all of these things are going to alter our immune system or hormonal balances and can cause a disruption. I mean, the hair is kind of like the canary in the cage. And, you know, when we talked about lupus, thyroid disorders, syphilis, sex hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, protein, iron, zinc. So what are some of the things that would cause mineral deficiencies? What about antacids? Because we need acid to absorb this stuff. Traumatic alopecia. This is one of the things, and when I first started, with being a chiropractor, it's kind of physical. So my first years, I had my hair tied back in a ponytail. Why? Because I didn't want to screw around with it. It was nice and easy. Then my hair stylist gal, she said, hey, your hair is not being healthy. It's tied up too tight. Okay, now I got to brush it a couple of times a day. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, twisting, curling, damaging the hair with strong chemicals. Are you listening to this? Okay. Okay, what I want you to appreciate is how beautiful the body is. Okay, I mean, think of these hair follicles are there, but it's not just like something out of nowhere. They're embedded in the fat layer cells at the very bottom of the dermis. You've got blood vessels going in there. You've got nerves going in there. You've got sebaceous glands going in there. I mean, all of this stuff is a very, very complex, intricate structure. And so when you look at this, obviously the health of the blood is going to be vital. And that's why. I mean, so when we talk about healthy blood equals healthy body, this, you can see how important it is. So the hair is the canary in the mine shaft. And then a skin flora. Remember, this shaft is going up through skin. And we talked an entire hour on how there's an intricate, delicate balance of flora on the skin. So if the shampoos you're using, the soaps you're using are destroying that microflora, you're damaging the immune system. And anything you put on your skin is going to get in your system. So how many people are using toxic chemicals on their hair? There's symbiotic microorganisms occupying a wide range of skin niches and niches, and to protect against invasion of pathogen or harmful organisms. I mean, when you look at the skin flora is just as important as the gut flora. So what kind of things disrupt the microfloras? We know that vaccines do. Heck, it says it on the label. Antibiotics, medications, toxic food, antibacterial soaps, household cleaners, cosmetics, sedentary lifestyle, and of course the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. Now, one of the things when we're looking at, remember how they're using a steroid that's like the primary one that they use? Well, does the body have an organ system that produces natural steroids? Yeah, the adrenal glands. In fact, it produces glucocorticosteroids, mineralocorticosteroids, sex hormones, everything. So if someone is in a low-functioning thyroid or systemic inflammatory response, what's going to happen to the adrenals? The adrenals are going to kick into high gear, and they're going to be producing cortisol, which short-term keeps you alive. It does a lot of brilliant stuff. But in long term, you're talking elevation in blood glucose levels, increase, so people are, have you heard the term pre-diabetic? That's not pre-diabetic, okay? They're chronic inflammatory response or adrenal fatigue. Decreased protein synthesis, so this means joint pain, muscle wasting, osteoporosis, skin regeneration problems, lymphatic issues, all as a result of chronic cortisol. So if the adrenals are in chronic fatigue, what happens to them? Weakened immune system, unexplained hair loss. Wow, so this makes sense. When we're talking about physical, chemical, and emotional stress, all of those three stressors are going to cause the thyroid to suppress, the adrenals to fire off. And I mean, we've done, I think, 6 or 7 talks, maybe 8 talks on the thyroid. Every talk I say it's not about the thyroid. It's about the body's intelligent response to environmental stimulus. And that's what this is. So you get these people saying, oh, it's adrenal fatigue, it's adrenal fatigue. No, it's not adrenal fatigue. It's your perception of the environment that's causing your body to respond like you're in a trench in World War I, you know, and that will cause your hair to fall out because of the stress. I mean, so what happens if the thyroid's suppressed? We're talking poor quality hair, nails, hair loss, autoimmune diseases. All of these things are in there. I mean, it makes me want to go back to the first couple of slides when you know, the powers that be on the mountaintop say it's an unknown autoimmune condition. And then you look at this and you go, no, it's not. This is actually an intelligent response given the stressors. So when we're talking about skin and hair, what are the organ systems that we use to maintain the health of this? We know the liver, we know the kidneys, we know the adrenals, thyroid, and the intestinal tract. So what kind of things can damage these organ systems? I mean, Tylenol, the leading drug, the deadliest drug in America, kills more livers than anybody. Could that be partly responsible for chemical stress? Absolutely. Kidneys, aspirin a day, the leading cause of kidney disease. Blood pressure drugs damage the kidneys. We know that the adrenals are chronically fatigued because of, you know, the statin drugs and the chemicals that we're exposed to. The thyroid's always weakened because of systemic inflammation, the large and small intestine. My God, that's all the glyphosates in the food. That's the antibiotics we're taking or exposed to. If you're eating commercially produced meats, I mean, when you look at this, we're causing this. So it's the cause is self-induced, so the solution is self-induced too. So if the cause is toxicity and deficiency, can the solution be sufficiency and purity? Yeah, absolutely. So organic plant-based diet. And I know what you want to say, it can't be that simple, but it is. Healthy fats, coconut oil, olive oil, fermented veggies, because we've got to build that gut bacteria. Probiotics, okay, juicing, blending, raw dairy, increased omega-6 or increased omega-3s, dark green leafy vegetables. This is like powerhouse of nutrients. Spinach, dandelion greens, chlorella. This, I mean, berries. You can't get healthier berries. And of course, I mean, this is the prerequisite that these are all organic, okay? Because, I mean, most pesticides are estrogen-based, herbicides are completely toxic. So we're talking goji berries, wild blueberries, dark chocolate. Oh my God. No, honey, it's just dark chocolate covered organic blueberries. I'm trying to grow hair. Try it. Okay, I don't know, you know, but I mean, this is just really good food. Blackberries, kidney beans, and then look at the healthy fats that you're using. We're not talking about cottonseed oil or canola oil. That stuff's poisonous. Omega-3 is from small wild-caught fish. Coconut oil, olive oil, grass-fed butter. We need this stuff. Fermented foods, because remember, we're healing the gut. We need to get healthy gut bacteria. We heal the gut, then that heals the immune system, because this is an immune system disorder. Carotenoids, oh my God. This is like the most important, because this is why one of the main ingredients for juicing, we talk about carrot juice. This is one of the reasons, the carotenoids, is why Gerson therapy uses so much carrots. Sweet potatoes, kale, spinach, marine algae, astaxanthin. What can you do for the outside? Because remember, we're talking, so many people have used so many toxic chemicals in shampoos. Try topical, organic shea butter, cocoa butter, virgin coconut oil, jojoba oil, palm oil, aloe vera juice. I mean, and then look at the package that you're putting on your head. I mean, for shampoos, if you can't eat it, you shouldn't put it on your skin. And honest to God, when you look at this stuff, sodium lauryl sulfate, okay, that causes it to foam up, but it's also cancer causing. Sodium chloride, propylene glycol, DEA, parabens, formaldehyde, alcohol, synthetic colors, I mean, petroleum, mineral oil. You know, they used to use, my teenage sisters would put baby oil on their skin. And, you know, later on we found it was petroleum byproduct, okay, that's actually damaging to the skin. Did anybody put baby oil in your skin when you were a kid to get a deep tan? I know, you didn't know. Okay, toluene, I mean, triclosan, that's one of the most powerful antibiotics. So when you see antibacterial soap, they have that in there. And then, okay, so don't put poison on your skin. If you can't eat it, don't put it on there. So if you're not eating your shampoo, don't do it. But the water that we're exposed to is poisonous. Do they fluoridate in Canada? Shit, I thought you guys were smarter than us. Okay, well, I know in every other respect. Okay, you gotta filter the water, because, I mean, if you're getting fluoridated and chlorinated water on your skin, it's not gonna be good for it. And there's shower filters, there's Berkey. The Dalton water filters are fantastic. The Berkey filters are excellent. Okay, and then we've got to get vitamin D, because remember, it's an autoimmune disease. We know that vitamin D deficiency is associated with not just autoimmune diseases, but we're talking about virtually every type of cancer. And at this time of the year, we don't have enough, so you got to supplement. And there's so many doctors that are completely ignorant about nutrition. You're talking at least 5,000 to 8,000 units a day. If you're sick, 50,000 a day for about a week. Dr. McCullough, who's a brilliant osteopath, and I mean, he recommends 100,000 a day for a week if you're sick. So don't be afraid of this. Use a responsible amount. I mean, it's fantastic. But vitamin D3 works intimately with K2. And you get this from fermented veggies, fermented foods, grass-fed dairy. I love this. Stem cell transitional medicine. Vitamin D3 may promote functional differentiation of dermal papilla cells and be useful in preserving the hair follicle inductive capacity for hair regeneration therapies. Wow. D3 can actually help the follicle regenerate hair. What's this? I get confused. What's the side effect of this? Oh, health. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, because I didn't see that on the other thing. Okay. L-carnitine. This is like, I mean, when you look at this, experimental dermatology stimulates hair growth by increasing energy supply to the massively proliferating and energy-consuming anagen hair matrix. Remember the 3 different phases? The anagen is the very first one that takes 2 to 7 years. That's where most of the metabolic processes take place. That's when it's really connected. And L-carnitine helps that. Our findings suggest that L-carnitine stimulates human scalp hair growth by upregulation of the proliferation and downregulation of the apoptosis. Apoptosis is programmed cell death in follicular keratinocytes in vitro. In English, this means it helps the growth and slows the death of the hair. Okay? God, where can we get this stuff? Oh! Organic, healthy red meats, okay? Raw dairy, nuts, seeds, artichoke, asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, collard greens, garlic, mustard greens. Oh my God, isn't that amazing? That sounds really good. So now what kind of plants are good for hair growth? Now, and we're gonna go over this too, because onion juice, you might think, oh, that's just bull. Who's gonna put onion juice on their head? We're gonna go over that, okay? Acariaceae, ginkgo biloba, hibiscus leaf, not the hibiscus flower, peppermint oil, sophora, green tea, grapeseed extract, and turmeric. So let's go over this. Okay, Journal of Dermatology, onion juice on the head. Okay, regrowth of terminal coarse hairs started after 2 weeks of treatment with crude onion juice. Isn't that interesting? Don't worry about the smell. Okay, 4 weeks, 73.9% of patients saw regrowth. At 6 weeks, 87%. Wow. I know, it's a shame it wasn't garlic. Garlic smells really good too. Okay, I love this. Again, Journal of Dermatological Science. Tested among the tested plant extracts, the extract of Asia sari, radix showed the most potent hair growth stimulation potential. And they studied 45 different plants. So you think, wow, wait a second. Ginkgo biloba. And again, this is all topical. Showed a promoting effect on the regrowth of hair. These studies suggest that ginkgo biloba extract, okay, promotes the hair regrowth and should be used as a hair tonic. And again, safe, non-toxic, and good for you. Because if this stuff gets on your skin, it gets in the bloodstream. Hibiscus leaf extract. Extract of the leaves and the flowers of the hibiscus was evaluated for potential on hair growth in vivo and in vitro models. The leaf extract, when compared to the flower extract, exhibits more potency on hair growth. Peppermint oil. Peppermint oil induces a rapid anagen stage. Remember, that's the first stage, the most metabolically active. Wow. And I want you to remember peppermint oil because we're going to have a formula for shampoos and conditioners that require certain oils. And peppermint oil smells good. A dried root of the Sophora flavescens has an outstanding hair growth promoting effect. And again, these are non-toxic. Grapeseed extract, proanthocyanidins extracted from the grapeseed promote proliferation of the hair follicle cells. So, I mean, it takes those dormant cells and makes them work better. Curcumin, and this is good for all skin disorders. And we're talking orally, you take it inside or put it topically. Skin conditions examined include acne, alopecia, dermatitis, photoaging, lichen planus. I mean, all of these things. Overall, there is early evidence that turmeric and curcumin products and supplements, both oral and topically, may provide therapeutic benefits for skin and health. Now let's look at coconut oil. I mean, my youngest boy, Danny, he puts coconut oil in his hair every day. He's got beautiful black hair. Rich in antioxidants, antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, improves scalp health, particularly if you've gone through a lot of toxic exposure from your hair. Fights infections and fungi, supports hair growth. Doesn't that sound good? Adds volume and shine. Okay, so let's make our own shampoo. Okay, and it sounds crazy, but I mean, we make our own deodorant out of what? Arrowroot, baking soda, and coconut oil. And essential oils, because it smells good. So, I mean, that's the simplest deodorant on the planet. So let's make shampoo. Cup of Castle soap, coconut milk, coconut oil, and some essential oil. So a little bit of peppermint oil. So think of this. The coconut oil actually promotes healthy growth. And do you have one of the handouts? Okay, because I actually put this recipe on there. I think I did. Yes, I did. Yes, so I make it really easy. Okay, now you heat the coconut milk, very low heat, mix the castle soap, shake it well, and add in the essential oils. Okay, doesn't that make sense? Anything you put on your skin has to be able to be eaten. Now, how often should you wash your hair? Okay, typically once a week, because we want the healthy oils on there. You know, every 3-4 days would be appropriate as well. So now the coconut oil conditioner. Why? Because if you're adjusting a whole bunch of people, your hair is going to be flying in the wind. Okay, if you've ever seen me adjust, I look like a freaking wild man after about the first hour. Okay, so, you know, I should start to use conditioner maybe. Okay, coconut oil, vitamin E oil, jojoba oil, and 10 drops of the essential oil, mixed it in together. Is that easy? It's easy, cheap, and it's safe for your hair. So when you're looking at this, there's no magic bullet. Okay, hereditary is a minor factor. Okay, the toxic exposure that we have is a major factor. So you got to address the chronic stressors, the physical, chemical, emotional stress, and in today's society, that's huge. Avoid toxic exposure, particularly with vaccines. And the society today, we're going to do a talk next month on the vaccine court, because people don't know that it's coming down the line where you're going to be forced to, if you're dealing with the public, to get vaccines. It's beyond insane. But luckily, the diseases are so rampant and the health of the population is getting so sick that it's only going to last for 4 or 5 more years. Eliminate all medications. And when you think about this, sick people need drugs. And everybody that I've seen taking multiple pharmaceuticals, and yesterday I had a consult with this gal who's taking 11 prescriptions, and she's young, she was like 62. And I said, look, dear, you know, I mean, if you and me went on an island and you only had fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh water to drink, you had no access to pharmaceuticals, would your health improve or decline? What did she say? Improve? 100% of the people, when asked that, if they're taking multiple drugs, all of them say improve. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's they're taking 12 prescriptions every friggin' day, and they know they're killing them, but because the doctor told them and they've given up authority for their health, they still take them. And it's like, are you serious? So all you got to do is just change your friggin' lifestyle and you realize you won't need these things? Okay, so change your perception, fire your doctor, find out what reason you're taking the prescriptions for, and get your body healthy. Okay, because sick people are taking drugs. If you're taking a drug and you think you're healthy, you're completely delusional. Avoid processed, non-organic foods. You know, what did your great-grandparents call food, or organic food? Food. Eliminate toxic hair and skin products. I know. And eat nutrient-rich food. I mean, it's like, no, Harvard didn't come up with this. Okay, they should. So when we talk about the 5 keys to healing, it's so basic. You got to have your nervous system corrected and checked because, particularly when you're talking about hair loss, it's an autoimmune disease, and the nervous system controls the immune system. Regular exercises helps your immune system. Proper nutrition, this means if man makes it, you don't eat it. Sufficient rest. Is that important? Yes. When does most of our growth and cell production happen? At nighttime. I got to tell you, we beat our patients to death saying, please follow our sleep restrictive therapy so that you can get deep sleep to change that perception and to get deep sleep every night so you can get the REM state of sleep. That's one of the hardest things to get through to people. And prayer and meditation, you have to do this every day. It gives you a positive mental attitude. Does that make sense? And for the internet trolls, reference. Yes, because there are going to be people that say, no, it can't be true. I can't just put coconut oil on my head and think good and eat right. It's true. When they talk about heredity, they talk about a genetic makeup and that you're a slave to your genes. And when you said epigenetic, man, you were so right on, because it's your perception of the environment that chooses that gene expression. And that's a totally different world. That's why the Human Genome Project, you're talking billions of dollars, 20 years, and they found out they screwed up. Okay, that the human body produces over 100,000 different proteins, and there's not even a third of that many genes. And so now they're doing the epigenetic project, which is going to take, I think it's like insurmountable. It's like counting the stars in the sky, because how many factors are going to affect a gene? How many physical, chemical, and emotional factors are going to affect gene expression, or your perception of the environment are going to affect that gene expression? So, yeah, that's why the whole gene thing is ridiculous, unless there's a gene malfunction like a Down syndrome or something like that. Yes, sir.
Topicals like the coconut oil you said your son puts on, does he rinse it right away? Or?
No, sleeps with it. He gets up, puts it on after he showers, he puts it in his hair.
What do you do to the pillow?
It gets it greasy and gets the face paper greasy, but it looks kind of cool because he's got like dark curly hair. He's like a really handsome guy. Yeah, it looks funky if you're blonde, but yes, sir.
Yeah, is there a period of time that passes where a hair follicle simply will not reproduce?
Kind of. There can be a finite time for it, but most of them, and the research that I've seen, is they just remain dormant, and they can come back. But also, too, I mean, hair is basically protein. So as we age, we produce less acid in our stomach, and less acid in our stomach means, because protein's a bear to break down, and the only way that we can get our building products is to break that protein to amino acids. Okay, and the fats to fatty acids, and the sugars to, or carbohydrates to usable sugars. So the less acid we have, the less protein we get. That's why we look a little wrinkly, because we're not producing enough acid. So to really hedge the deal on that, digestive foods by doing more juicing and blending, and take digestive enzymes to break down the protein. And then that'll help stave it off. Because I've got a couple of patients, this one guy, Phil, and I think he's 95 or 96 now, and he's Italian, and he only does his own cooking, he only does organic pasta. The guy doesn't have a wrinkle, and it's just cool. He makes his own olives.
Being married to an Italian help?
No, no, he's just a cool guy. Now, you can actually tell me. Hair dyes, is there anything safe to use? As long as you can eat the hair dye, it'll be okay. No, it's true, because there are some natural dyes. There's some natural dyes that you can use that are actually safe. They're organic plant products that are safe to use. It may damage some of the proteins in there, but it's not for vanity. If the person feels so much better about themselves by doing this, is that going to help their immune system? Yeah, it's like I get yelled at by other chiropractors by telling my girl patients that they can wear high heels. But the high heels destabilize the pelvis, it alters the gait, there's a lot of bad things to it. But girls, do you feel pretty wearing them? Yeah, there's no way I'm going to tell you not to wear them. I'm just going to fix any damage they do. So, you know, so for hair dyes, does this make you feel young and attractive and beautiful and healthy? Yeah. So you do, you know, there's always going to be a balance. It's like Angelina Jolie, she had this gene and genetic expression. Was she in line for getting cancer? No. But did she think she was? Yes. So would those thoughts have changed that genetic expression? Yeah, but most people with the BRCA gene, I'd say, heck no, you're not at risk at all. You know, take care of your physical, chemical, and emotional stress and you're going to be healthy.